$78,868 under account number 642-979.900.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Kennedy, supported by Councilmember Hanson. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, could you please lead us in another roll call vote?
Fairclough.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Kibble.
Yes.
Moser.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. New business number 2 this evening, 2022 DPW Complex Paving Improvements Phase 2 Contract Award.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The DPW recently had completed Phase 1 of the paving of its facilities. After consulting with HRC, the contractor has agreed to hold its pricing. The completion of this project would be a much-needed and welcome improvement to the DPW complex. This expense can be purchased out of the capital improvements account 401-451-802, with the total amount being $249,290. Now, I'd like to just also say that we recommend go with these Hartwell Cement Company. This has already been bid as well. They're continuing to hold their price. Steel's going up, concrete's going up, everything's going up, and they're saying we can probably get to it this year. So that's why we're trying to come to you now to do a change order to actually finish the next phase of this big project out there. Can I answer any questions?
Councilmember Dill?
I'll move to approve the contract award to Hartwell Cement Company for $249,290 under line item 401-451-802.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Dill, supported by Councilmember Hanson. Do we have any further discussion? City Clerk Deaton, could you lead us in a roll call vote?
Kennedy.
Yes.
Kibble.
Yes.
Moser.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Fairclough.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. New business number 3 this evening, acceptance of Oakland County Critical Infrastructure Planning Grant.
Earlier this year, we applied for funds from Oakland County for a critical infrastructure planning grant. We received notice 2 weeks ago that the city of South Lyon will receive $100,000 from Oakland County for a critical infrastructure planning grant. The funds will be used for planning the location for the water aquifer, lead pipe removal, and for sanitary sewer line replacement. In order to receive this grant, we must adopt the attached resolution. The attached resolution, as well between Oakland County and the city of South Lyon. Possible course of action: approve or not approve the attached resolution to approve agreement for local fiscal recovery fund distribution between Oakland County and the city of South Lyon.
Councilmember Kimball?
I'm just going to read the motion. So, to approve the agreement for local fiscal recovery fund distribution between Oakland County and the city of South Lyon.
I'll second. A motion by Councilmember Kittle, supported by Councilmember Mosier. Do we have any further discussion on the matter? City Clerk Deaton, could you lead us in a roll call vote?
Dill.
Yes.
Moser.
Yes.
Fairclough.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Kennedy.
Yes.
Kibble.
Yes.
Alsep.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. With that, we'll move on to the budget this evening, if anyone has anything on the budget. Okay. At this time, we will open the floor for public comment. Please remember to state your name and address, and remember our 2-minute time limit. Okay, at this time, we'll close the floor for public comment, and we'll move on to the manager's report with city manager's outline.
At an upcoming meeting, most likely in October, we will have a presentation of the 2021-2022 audit. Regarding our concerts in the park, we're happy with the attendance at our last concert. We met to discuss the last concert and look at bringing an Oakland County Park stage at least once a year in South Lyon for a larger and more popular group concert or concerts at one given time. I just got received word from the schools as well as the contractor that's working on the installation equipment here at City Hall We're going to be installing HVAC units and reinforcing roofing sections here at City Hall. When we know of that particular date that they're going to be doing it, we may have to be closed for a particular date when they are bringing cranes in and loading equipment in on the roof of City Hall. And I'm also working with the schools as well as our attorney regarding the cross-access agreement for the parking lots between Whipple Street and the school facility where the new sidewalk was installed earlier in the year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Councilman Kurtzwell?
I remember when, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I remember when I was speaking at a council meeting when the school district was here, inquiring as to whether or not there were going to be those special filters that were going into the HVAC. Do you recall that meeting?
Yes, I do.
Are they going to follow through and make sure that those
I will
special?
have to check on that for you.
Yeah, because that's real important, because COVID's not going away, or some form of it. And that filtering, those particular filters, I think, are really necessary. Thank you.
Councilman Fiddle?
I was curious, are we at the end of, like, the crosswalks downtown, I know the one right here on Warren, our COC came and just put some 4-inch tape, on either side of the thing. I thought we were going to look for something that was more of an enhancement to really draw attention. I know that we've got signs on either side of the road and all that stuff, but there's an awful lot of pedestrian traffic that crosses at that intersection, and it seems like we could do a more adorned version of that to try to bring more gravity to the fact that people walk there. I thought we had had that conversation at some point, but maybe it was for a different location at that time. I think all of them actually warrant that. So, I mean, I would like us to be pushing towards having the Abbey Road kind of crossing thing where really it draws a great deal more attention to it.
I will use that term when I talk to them.
Councilman Kurtzwell, and I'll come to you, Councilman Ransom. Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah, Councilman Ransom, go ahead, and then I'll come back to you, Councilman Kurtzwell.
So, with preschool starting, I've been doing a lot of driving around town, especially in the early morning, and as I was coming up to Warren at that crosswalk, I saw a large tree stump that was between the sidewalk and the street. It was a tree that probably, it been chopped down and whatnot, but it's been there for at least over a year now. There's another large tree stump.
That's on 2nd Street, I think.
Okay, yeah, and there's another large one right on Pioneer Trail just past, as you're heading south past St. Joseph Catholic Church between the sidewalk and the street. I'm wondering, is there any possibility that the DPW could grind down the stumps at all and then, get those eyesores off of the straightways?
Well, those are county roads, and the county usually does not follow up always with grinding stumps. They usually just let them deteriorate and fall apart. We have certain equipment that can do, but only a certain size, and then it's basically, requiring a piece of equipment, grinding it for a few $100, spending several hours, and then doing this sort of thing. It's not high on our priority list, but I will advise DPW. Somebody else had brought that up, but I can forward that on to DPW as well.
It just came to my thought that, straight these harbors basically of traffic going through the city, I mean, just to kind of beautify it and make it look a little bit better. But also wanted to ask, while I'm on the topic of trees, as everyone knows, how is the bidding process going as far as the replacement of the tree at the post office, near the post office?
We have several of them that would be replaced within the downtown. I know Nate and I were working on different designs, or different types of species of trees that we'd be bringing in town, just like we're going to be installing with the expense to the RCA building with Duovino for trees that would be as part of that installation and items there also. So it's just installing those and beginning to install those on a regular basis throughout town when we are making improvements. Because there also is one in front of where KB Sports is located also.
Is the thought to do that this fall then?
Probably not this fall,
Okay.
but we have several of them that we will be installing.
Okay.
Several different locations.
Maybe next spring then?
I think that's a good point.
Okay. Great. No, thank you.
Councilman Kurtzwell, did you have something?
Yes, I wanted to address the issue at 110 Detroit Street. I do agree that it is highly unusual that somebody would go to a court appearance defending their position that they are working on the interior of a location where they are under a consent judgment and not bring in any receipts or evidence that that work had even been done. I find that just odd and irresponsible. In fact, I find this property owner completely irresponsible and probably not a good fit for the city of South Lyon. Anyway, the next point on 110 Detroit is that it should not be difficult for this individual to get a roof. I can find a roofer, if they want, that can get a roof on that property within weeks. Call me today or tomorrow and I'll give you a name. And if I don't hear from you, I will assume that you have that project well under control. Additionally, as to windows, Hello Windows is available. You have a window company managing windows. Any one of these local Michigan window companies are able to come in and manage those windows and get windows. You can get them done almost immediately. Additionally, as to the landscaping on the outside, that's just irresponsible ownership. You don't need a landscaper to come over and pull the weeds and clean up that mess that's over there. This property owner is an embarrassment in terms of how they're not only managing the property, but how they're managing their responsibilities under the consent judgment. Thank you.
And we are not responsible for finding the contractors. That is up to the property owners for doing so, and that's what we're waiting for their ruling on the court based upon us being in court again last week.
And the point that I'm making is that there's no excuse.
We agree.
There is no excuse. There are plenty of roofers out there. You don't have to get, Kearns, for example, could probably be out here. They're out of Plymouth, could be out here within 3 weeks. They're a little high end, but they could be out here, have that roof done in 1 day. Because that's what Kearns is known for, is ripping off and putting back on in 1 day. But it just depends on the commitment of the property owner to follow through on the terms of that consent judgment. I don't have a problem, quite frankly, if it gets to it, holding this property owner in contempt and doing whatever legal process is needed to enforce that contempt hearing. Additionally, if the city believes at some point that that property should be demolished at some point, then demolish it, file a lien on the property, and then put it out there for foreclosure. Somebody will buy it and do something with the lot. That's my 2 cents on 110 Detroit.
Does anyone else have anything for the manager's report this evening? Councilmember Dill.
Really quickly, I just can't remember, I know I should know this. What did you say about the other 2 crosswalks? We were waiting for the equipment to come in on those?
Jeff is actually going to be bringing that before council. One of the next meeting or the meeting after that for approval, because we are buying 2 of them, so we're buying 2 sets of everything, so it does have to go through the council approval because it is more than $5,000.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Mr. Mayor? If I could just briefly respond to
Please feel free.
Councilmember Kurtwoff. I can tell you that we have filed a motion to hold them in contempt of court and to sanction them. The judge is issuing a written opinion on the sanctions. That's still something we already asked for. It's just a matter of whether it gets issued. If they don't comply with the court's dictated date of compliance, I think that's when they're really going to get hit up pretty hard.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that update.
Does anyone else have anything for city manager's element tonight? All right, great. Thanks for the update. With that, we'll move on to council comments this evening. Councilmember Kennedy, why don't you kick us off?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things tonight. Just a reminder that this Friday, September 16th, will be the last movie in the park. They'll be showing Ghostbusters: The Afterlife, and the movie will begin at dusk at the Caddy Park. Also, just a reminder that the last Lake Street Cruise in for the year will be on Wednesday, September 28th, and that it will start earlier at 4:30 p.m. that afternoon. So make plans to attend for one last chance to see some great classic cars. And finally, don't forget that Pumpkin Fest takes place on Saturday and Sunday, September 24th to 25th. It will run from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday, and from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. Pumpkin Fest Parade is scheduled to start around 9:45 on Saturday morning, so come early and get a good seat. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kennedy. We'll go to Councilmember Kurtzwell next.
I have a couple of things, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, I thought you might.
Right, I just want to say, we live in probably the most incredible city I think anybody could live in. What an incredible week it was in the city of South Lyon. First of all, I want to make sure that I say again, so this gets on the record because I didn't get on the last one, I would like to thank Jeff Archie and the great men and women from the DPW who kept Paul Baker Park in great shape all summer long. Thanks to Trevor, to Andy, to John, to Mike. All of you guys do the hard work. I just pull the weeds and get the poison ivy. So thank you, DPW. There is no shortage of volunteers in South Lyon. I would like to thank, clearly, Jane, Mike, Bill, Barb, and Elito for putting on a great garage sale over at Colonial Acres, Phase 5. It was absolutely incredible. It was packed on Friday. People were coming from all over. The merchandise was, I mean, I walked out with my arms filled with stuff, and I ran into so many people who were supporting Colonial Acres. And I want to thank those volunteers that work there because they're working hard for their community. And Colonial Acres gives so much to the city of South Lyon. And the volunteers over there were just incredible. So I go from the garage sale at Colonial Acres, and then on Saturday, I spent some time at the farmer's market, absolutely packed. Hundreds of people were just packed in that downtown at the farmer's market. And then from the farmer's market, I walked up to Depot Days in the Historic Village. There were more vendors there this year than there were last year. The kids in particular had great activities thanks to the Cultural Arts Commission and others. I'd like to thank Ron Beeson from the Water Department. He was there, he showed up, and next year, hopefully, Ron, we get you into the water balloon toss, and we know how that's going to end. A special thank you to the South Lyon Area Historical Society and Linda Ross for hosting this event, and what a real big thank you I'd like to pass out to Julie Piquette and all that she is doing for the Roper Barn fundraising project. And I'd also like to thank the Lemon Tree. I spent some money on some gift baskets, and I won one, and just incredible how the businesses in town were supporting the Home Depot Day, particularly the barn raising project. And once again, when I spent several hours over there, it was packed with volunteers. People were volunteering everywhere for the Home Depot Day. Then I would like to thank, from there, I went over to say hello to my friends over at the First Methodist Church, where all the volunteers were there, managing the mom-to-mom sale, packed once again. You know, sometimes we forget that the cost of clothes for little kids is kind of expensive, and that mom-to-mom was unbelievable what they were doing over there at the Methodist Church. So thank you, First Methodist, for that. And then, while I was on the row of churches, it was now time to go to the Polish Festival over at St. Joe's. It got a little bit rained out, but it sure didn't dampen the spirits. And I'd like to thank all the volunteers that were there at the Polish Festival. The food was great, but this was incredible. On a rainy day, there's nothing to do but talk to the person next to you, standing in line, waiting for the Polish dinner. I never met so many new people that have moved into South Lyon, and why they moved into South Lyon was exactly what we talked about. This is a great, safe community with good activities, with good values, and I'm telling you, we heard it just hour after hour after hour over there. Several thousand people attended in the rain, so next year they assured me that they're going to have bigger tents, and the expectations are going to be even more. And what I found very interesting about the Polish Festival is that the people that were donating, many of them were not even from St. Joseph's Parish. They called the parish and said, hey, I want to be a part of this event. It's pretty cool. I've never seen authentic polka. I never saw the cultural costume of the Polish people. And this was a great cultural event for many, many people in this community, and they absolutely loved it. So I spent from 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 Saturday morning, downtown in South Lyon at the Farmers Market, went to Depot Day, stopped off at the First Methodist Church, and ended up at the Polish Festival, and capped off my evening at 11 o'clock in the beer tent with Phil and Pam Whitebird and Jeff Heineman and Carly. what an incredible weekend in South Lyon. I wouldn't want to be any place else. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Sounds like a very eventful Saturday. Councilmember Bozier.
Well, I can't top that. I just want to say it's good to be back. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to have you back. Councilmember Hanson.
Well, it was the first week of school, so as a father taking his 4-year-old to preschool at ECC, it was definitely a first for me and for her as well. I wanted to extend my gratitude to the staff at ECC. Very caring staff, and you can really see the passion that they have for teaching and the care that they have for your kids. So I was very moved and extremely impressed by what I saw in the first day. And then the next day, since the traffic was so bad, on that first day I decided to utilize the parking lot off of Whipple and was able to use the new sidewalk that we installed. So it was a great addition to give parents that option to stay on paved walkways and take their kid to the second day of school. So thank you again to all the staff at ECC. It was a great first week, and first week of many great weeks, I hope. All that I have left to say is I'm looking forward to Pumpkin Fest in a week and a half, so I'll hopefully see you all there.
Thank you, Councilmember Hanson. Councilmember Kibble.
Sort of piggybacking on that with school in play, I had happened to see a missive on Facebook. One of the ladies that was sort of the head person, there's a number of head persons apparently trying to assist when the people are picking up their children at the elementary schools in particular, and the lack of patience with the ones that simply can't find the rules and follow them. So I'm hoping like crazy everybody ends up falling into just a nice pattern, and nobody has to go out of there with, scowls on their faces because people are not behaving the way they're supposed to. Because it's astonishing how choked off the city is around the schools when the kids are going in and out. It is devastating to areas. So please, read the rules, follow the rules, everybody goes home safe. That's all I've got.
That's a great reminder, Councilmember Gill. I appreciate you getting that out there. Councilmember Gill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple quick things. Speaking of Pumpkin Fest and volunteers, Pumpkin Fest does still need several volunteers. It cannot run without volunteers, so there's several more slots. You can go to the website or just search for Pumpkin Fest on Facebook, and you can find plenty of links to sign up, at least for one slot. Most of them are pretty easy. It's not a lot of hard labor. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention was, it's weighed on me quite a bit from last week when we had a gentleman in talking about some of the things in downtown that are in disrepair or things that need to be fixed. And I went and looked around, I saw some of the things, but I just also wanted to say that I thought it was a little bit unfair to the property owners who invest their time and money on their properties and making our town look good. There's so many other places, there's so many places that are doing this, and I noticed it a lot when my daughter came into town. She hasn't spent a lot of time the last 5 years in South Lyon, and we drove into downtown, and I've never seen her be more impressed with the town of South Lyon. You know how young adults don't love their hometowns, but she was like, look at the movie theater, look at that Italian restaurant. I'm like, look at this twisted cork, look at the houses that are redoing the front of their houses on Lake Street. She just couldn't be more complimentary, and that's not a normal thing. So I just wanted to say, if it was very noticeable to her, and that maybe we don't notice it all the time when we're living here all the time, but I just wanted to thank the people. I know that we need to fix some things, but I just want to thank the property owners and the people who are doing their best to make their places look good. And that's all.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Dill. I just hope everyone took a moment yesterday to remember the lives lost on September 11th, 21 years. It was kind of different with it being on a weekend. I felt like maybe some people let it slide a little bit. So you know, the fall here in the city of South Lyon is a special time of year. I hope everyone gets out and enjoys it, because we all know what's coming next. So, you know, that's it. That's all I got for us tonight. I will not look for a motion to adjourn. We'll be actually looking for a motion to go into closed session this evening. Councilmember Kurtzwell.
Yes, I move to go into closed session to consider the purchase of real property in accordance with MCL 15.268, Section 1, Section D.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the matter? City Clerk Deaton, could you lead us in a roll call vote?
Kurzweil,
Yes.
Moser,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Kennedy,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Yes.
Dibble, Almond.
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes. We'll take a moment break while everyone clears out.